Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tim and this is Tim the Trailman, and today we're talking body lifts. Mine just happens to be a 5th gen 4Runner, and we're going to be using a ToyTec 1-inch body lift to raise the vehicle. There's a couple reasons why I wanted to do it. One, it's not a common mod on the 4Runner. Most of my friends aren't running it, and I wasn't sure how it would affect the overall ride quality on-road and off-road. The second reason why I wanted to run the body lift is the 2020 4Runner and newer, they have a Toyota Safety Sense, TSS for short, equipped on the vehicle. That adds a radar sensor to the front of the vehicle and a camera system in the windshield. I'm not sure with the suspension lift and a body lift what the tolerance of the TSS is, if it's going to be affected, if it's going to work or not. I personally love the active cruise control on the 4Runner, so I'm hoping that I don't do anything that's going to take that system out. I'm not going to have an answer in this video, but I will be stopping by the dealership for them to be using their equipment to see if it's within range or if it can be adjusted. And I'll report back with an update once I get that handled. Today, we're just going to be doing the installation and I'll be walking you through that step by step. Let's go over what's in the kit. ToyTec provided everything that you need to be able to do it. The cost of the kit is not that expensive. I believe it's about $150. With that being the price, I believe this mod is going to be much more labor intensive than the purchase price to actually get the mod. In the kit, we have 8 spacers. 6 of them are the same height and diameter, and 2 of them are the same height, but a smaller diameter. The repair instructions say those are going to go at the front. It also comes with 8 longer bolts and nylon locking nuts. So that's going to be able to accommodate the extra spacer for the body lift. The 4 plates here in the front, those are for the radiator drop. If you actually raise the body of the 4Runner and you don't adjust for the radiator, the fan will be into the shroud, and that's no good. I did find videos on that on YouTube. As well in the kit is a 2-page front and back instructions from ToyTec. It does look straightforward. So let's get started. Okay, so with the tornado warnings and some type of storm blowing through, I don't know if this body lift video will ever make a difference or not. Let's get to work. Okay, so to get to all 8 body points on the 4Runner, we're going to need to remove the front bumper, and to do that we need to remove that top valance. I'm going to do that last and work my way from the back to the front. So there's going to be 1 body point here, 1 body mount point here, 1 body mount point here, and then there's 1 back here. So starting in the back, what I need to do is I need to remove this trim panel, loosen it up, and I need to remove this trim panel and loosen it up. And then the body mount point should be right below there. To do this, I need to pop that clip off to get to a screw. There should be a screw there, and then I think there's a screw up there, maybe 1 back here or behind here. So I'm gonna look at it, get it popped off, and then I'll show you where the body mount is. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I got the panel mostly released. It seems to be a pain in the neck to actually take it all the way out. I went ahead and flipped the carpet up as well, because I did discover on the driver's side there's a screw there and a screw there, and on the passenger side there's just a screw there. So I did get this released, and then on this side I went ahead and just went and let this tang right here hold this open, and then on the driver's side I went ahead and put this board. So this little rubber cover covered up the hole, and then down there you can see that's the bolt for the rear mount by the rear bumper. And then on this side I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover off, so you can just reach in here and grab this. You can grab that, take it off, and then right in there is that other bolt. Okay, so now we're going to move to the rear seats and access those body mounts there and there, then the front row seats, and then take the bumper off. Okay, so for the rear seats to get to the body mount, you just want to go ahead and pop off this seal plate. You can use a screwdriver, let go of the carpet. Right here is a rubber grommet, and then there is the second body mount. It is the same on the other side. Let's take a look. So here we are on the driver's side. I flipped the seat up, and then here is that rubber grommet, and there's the body mount bolt right there. And I took the seal plate off. So let's move to the front by the driver's seat and the passenger seat. Okay, so we're looking at the passenger front side. I went ahead and took the seal plate off, released the carpet from these tabs right here, and then right here is the front one that's inside the cab. So this is the 3rd one from the back, and you can see the bolt. Let's take a look at on the driver's side. So first we remove the seal plate, release the carpet, and on the driver's side you have this foam for the dead pedal, I guess, and then it's got these stupid plastic clips. Let me show you. They are supposed to be spun to be released. You can see them there, but if you push too hard, they slide back down. And then right here underneath of it is the next treasure hunt, the rubber grommet and the bolt. So we've got all 6 in the back. Let's move to the front and we'll remove the front bumper cover and loosen the radiator. So let's go there now. Okay, so we're at the front of the car, and to get the front bumper off, you need to remove this panel that Justin's taking off. You just push these little buttons down right there and then remove them. You don't want to lose them. Then it comes off like that. And we're taking this off to access the radiator to lower it down, and it'll also make it easier to get to the body mount bolts that are down there. And we'll also need to remove the washer reservoir to access that body mount. Okay, so once you get that black trim panel off, you're gonna have a clip here and a clip here, and then a 10mm there to release the front bumper on the top, and then we'll move to the sides and bottom. On the side of the fenders, you'll have a screw here, and normally there'll be more down here, but I put the Viper cut on there a couple months ago, so I saved myself some hassle. And you'll also want to unplug your fog light, whether it's a factory one or aftermarket, because those come with the bumper. Okay, for the bottom, it's gonna be a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw down there, and a screw back here. So there should be 4 on the bottom to release the cover as well. So I needed to remove my amber light bar, and so there would be a rivet there. Mine was a bolt. There's another rivet there, another rivet there, and one there to release the bumper cover. And because, like I said, mine's a 2020 with the TSS, you need to take those 2 10mm bolts out to release the TSS. Now what I'm talking about is right here. This black box is for my active cruise control radar. And so from what I've researched is if you're gonna disconnect that, you need to be very confident that you're not gonna turn the key on, or you need to disconnect your battery, positive or negative. I said that backwards, positive or negative. That way you will not set any faults. If you turn the key on with the battery and that's disconnected, that might cost you a lot of money at the dealership or an independent shop or somewhere, so don't do that. So we're gonna finish taking those bolts out and then remove the bumper cover. And so we'll just need to release the clips right here on both sides once we're done, and then the bumper will be off. Okay, so we're looking at the passenger side body mount area, and to get to this bolt, you can see a little bit through here, the washer fluid reservoir is there. So we do need to take it off and move it out of the way to get to there. Then for the radiator that we need to remove, there's a bolt up there, there's a bolt in here, so we need to remove this air deflector, and Justin's removing that air deflector. Same on the driver's side, but you don't need to remove any washer fluid reservoir to get to this body mount bolt, because there isn't one on this side. So get that air deflector out. You can see there's a bolt right there for the radiator, and then there's going to be one right there as well. Okay, so we got the front bumper off and we got the radiator parts removed, and we were just working on the reservoir. So there's going to be one bolt here, there's going to be one bolt that comes in from this way, and then on mine it was a little bit harder to find. My Fox reservoir was in the way. There's one screw there to loosen up the reservoir, and we drained it to make it as easy as possible. So now we can remove this to get it out of the way to access the passenger front body mount bolt. Okay, got the reservoir out. You can go ahead and just pull the hoses apart so you can see that this one had this slider piece left in it. This one is up here on the car. And if you take the wheel liner all the way out, it's probably a lot easier. It definitely fought us. So it's up to you, but this is how we snuck it out. And my shock reservoir, we had to take loose to get everything out of the way. So now we can access the bolt that is right there. So now those are out. We should be able to start loosening everything and lifting up the car. Okay, with everything off the front now, we're gonna actually loosen the bolts, or actually loosen the nuts on the bottom of the 4Runner. And so right here in the back, there's the one nut that we access with removing the trim right there. Let me show you the other ones. There's the one behind the passenger rear door. There's the one below the passenger front door. And then there's the one on the passenger side on the bottom with the nut. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen all those up, remove the bolts, and I'll show you how we do the body lift itself to get the spacers in there. Be right back. Okay, actually I almost forgot that we still hadn't disconnected the steering shaft, so we're doing that now. We actually have all the nuts off of all the body bolts, but we're going to release the splash guard, and then I'll show you the steering shaft on how to take that apart. So we'll be right back. Okay, so right here is the bolt that ToyTec's talking about in the instructions. We're going to take the bolt off, disconnect this from the rack. That's the steering column right there, and then slide that down. Once you disconnect it, do not turn the steering wheel because it could mess things up on the inside, and you don't want that to happen. So there's the pink line, you can see it, and that's aiming towards the bolt. So we're going to disconnect it and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, changing plans. We took the bolt out, but for the life of us, we cannot get that shaft to slide very easily, and I don't have any PB Blaster here at the house. So we are just going to go ahead and give it an attempt, and let me show you how that works out. Okay, so this is the passenger side, and it's got all the 1-inch spacers in there with the bolts. So it's sitting up quite a bit higher. It looks more than 1 inch, but it's definitely only 1 inch. And then this is how it looks on the driver's side still without the spacers in it. So we were able to separate it from the frame pretty easily, and the steering shaft didn't give us any problems on the passenger side. So I'm hoping for overall that it won't be that bad right now. So we're going to do the driver's side, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just showed you the passenger side lifted up, but I forgot to show you where I lifted it up at. So doing it here in my garage, what I found is this is right here, kind of between the driver's front door and the driver's rear door. And I don't have a 4x4, but I did the math, and two 2x4s make a 4x4. So that is what I'm using on top of my hydraulic jack. Disregard that falling. You just lift it up a little bit at a time, and then the frame will separate from it, and you can slide those spacers in. Okay, so I haven't seen this talked about in a lot of the other videos. We've got the radiator drop bracket. That's the top of it, and then the bolt goes through the radiator. That's the factory radiator bolt there. And then what happens is you're going to go ahead and put the stud facing forward through here, but the downside is that's the bolt that we put in first to the radiator, then pulled it in. And let me see if I can show you on camera. It pinches between the radiator and the body of the 4Runner. So it deflects the aluminum. It's hard to tell right there. Like, this is actually bent a little bit. And then it also bent a little bit. You can see the deflection in the 4Runner's radiator core support. Not the end of the world. The bottom one here, a little bit the same. Right there is the stud that comes through. That's the bottom of the drop bracket. It's bolted to the radiator. But I hadn't seen any of the videos of how they actually accomplished it. Those drop brackets are provided by ToyTec, and they do get the job done because the goal is that the fan needed to stay in place because it's attached to the engine right there, and the shroud is attached to the body. So if you raise the body up, the bottom of the shroud will get into the fan, and that's no good. So that's how those work. We're going to put the rest back together, and I'll show you the finished product in a minute. Okay, so that wraps up the installation of the ToyTec 1-inch spacer body lift for the 5th gen 4Runner. And so I'm excited to be driving it around, seeing how it does on-road, off-road, highway. Most importantly, let's see how it affects my fuel mileage. Go ahead and take a guess and put that in the comments below. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we will be taking it to the dealership to see how the TSS is calibrated and if it's within the tolerance of the system. For full disclosure, please be sure that if you install it and you have TSS, that is a risk that you're taking on your own. I want to take a moment and thank the community of patrons for the channel. Their support means so much to me. And if you'd like to see the benefits and features that you can have being a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Tim the Trailman. What are your thoughts on the overall results of the body lift and how the 4Runner looks with a suspension lift plus a body lift? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.